Hey everybody, Alex Kazora, SteelersDepot.com, back with some more Pittsburgh Steelers preview and prediction for this wild card game against the Baltimore Ravens. Pittsburgh on the road after their late season collapse, one of the coldest teams in football playing one of the hottest in the Ravens. Let's talk about it. Before we start, if you guys could like this video, subscribe to the channel, and check out the site, SteelersDepot.com. Would really appreciate that. Also apologize for not getting at least one tape breakdown video post-Bengals game out for you guys. I got sick. Still recovering. Likely hear it in my voice, but that was the reason why. A couple of quick points, though, and keys for this wild card game, starting with this Baltimore offense. They'll be without their top receiver, Zay Flowers. That's obviously a benefit to Pittsburgh, but it is only one piece of that pie for Baltimore, who have scored 30 points plus in 4 straight games. Of course, won all of those games, one of which came over Pittsburgh in Week 16. It has to start with minimizing the run game and Derrick Henry. And saying stopping is probably a bridge too far, but can you minimize him? He certainly can't rush for the $160 plus, and the Ravens rush for the 220 they did in that previous matchup, that 34-17 Ravens victory. I think last time Pittsburgh paid a little too much attention to Lamar in the run game. It's obviously tough to choose between one or the other. They're both big-time threats, but it has to begin with Derrick Henry. Baltimore can't get the tone set early the way they set it in Week 16. It has to be more like Week 11, where it felt classic Steelers-Ravens with the young offensive lineman really mixing it up. Maybe not to that degree, but in that rematch, Derrick Henry's first 2 runs went for 20 total yards. They were feeling it. They had confidence they could run the ball. When it's in Baltimore's place, their crowd's going to feel it. It's all going to snowball and feed into each other. And so Pittsburgh really has to set that tone early. I want to see better body language. But then from a technical standpoint, besides just tackling and wrapping up and rallying, which is always critical against Henry, need just to be more gap sound. Too many missed assignments, too many guys not in their gap. You really go through the teeth of that Ravens game. Look at some of the big runs that Henry had. A lot of it was just simply guys not in their gap. Somebody trying to backdoor a gap and they shouldn't have, or somebody caught looking in the backfield, or somebody taking poor angle or bad leverage or something like that. There was a consistent running theme of Pittsburgh struggling, and that's when you do that, you have no chance. Stopping Henry when you're playing gaps out and fitting the run well is tough enough, but when you're not playing in control and doing your job, then it becomes a fool's errand. And so that's where it's going to begin, is stopping the run, minimizing the run, I should say, and being assignment sound to slow down Derrick Henry. Don't let them get confident early to lean on that run game the rest of the way. When it comes to the Ravens pass game, obviously no Zay Flowers is going to be a loss for them, but there's still other weapons to focus on. Rashad Bateman, their top receiver, Sans Flowers, is averaging 1 touchdown every 5 receptions this year. The tight end duo, Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely, is potent. Mark Andrews has a touchdown in 6 straight games, 11 touchdowns this year, all in the red zone. And so, he's a guy you have to worry about situationally, third down, red zone type of moments. I think how Pittsburgh plays and defends matchups in the pass game is going to be really key. With Henry, it's an all-man's effort. With Bateman, it's going to be, you think, a lot of Joey Porter Jr. on him. When it comes to their third down back, Justice Hill should not be forgotten about what he can do in the pass game, design game, downfield game, check down, all that kind of stuff. Peyton Wilson, Minkah Fitzpatrick was on Mark Andrews a lot the last matchup. That could continue. What matchup could Deshaun Elliott potentially draw? Those types of chess battles, I think, will be really, really help determine who's going to come out on top in this one. I think Pittsburgh will have a pretty deep plan in terms of different personnel groupings. That was the case in the previous 2 matchups. In that Week 16 game, Pittsburgh played 8 different groupings. That did not even include dime packages, which they could use in this game, but probably a little less likely because you want a guy like Peyton Wilson to be on at Justice Hill in those third down situations, and that's going to keep you in nickel of some sort. But 4 down fronts, 4-4 fronts, 5 linebacker fronts with 3 inside backers. You're going to see big nickel with 3 safeties. You're going to see that, all hands on deck to try to match personnel, to try to shrink that talent advantage that's in Baltimore's favor. And then stars have to play like stars, whether that's a TJ Watt, no sacks in 3 straight games. I know he had the one taken away last week against the Bengals, but that's his longest drought in 6 years, and you can't make it 4 straight there. And Hayward and Minkah and taking the football away and getting some of those fumbles to go your way are all going to be obviously critical. And then situational football, kind of like the Bengals game, where Pittsburgh did show progress Communication was better. Red zone defense was markedly improved. That will have to continue. I think Baltimore will continue to try to stress Pittsburgh with motions and switch releases and bunches as they burn them in that previous game, just to see if Pittsburgh has truly, gotten things corrected, or if that was a 1 week, reprieval, I suppose, against the Bengals. But now on the road, can they do it again? They're going to be tested. Offensively for the Steelers in this one, take care of the football is obviously paramount and clear. I think the one stat that can apply obviously to the offense and the defense is, and it's the one I've harped on since last year's playoff loss, is 66-0. That's the first quarter score of the last 5 playoff games Pittsburgh has played in, and they've been all losses, and Pittsburgh does not have 66. They have the goose egg in this one, and both stats, both sides of that coin are obviously disturbing. So I'm not saying Pittsburgh has to race off to an awesome start. If they do, fantastic, but can't be down 14-0 again on the road. Their crowd gets into it. They kind of get to play their game the entire game, make it 10-7 Baltimore, 7-3, 3-3, whatever the situation is. But you can't have these big holes you're going to dig out of. Pittsburgh's been able to dig out of some of those in the regular season, but in the postseason, when everything's heightened, you're facing the best of the best and facing a team playing as well as Baltimore. I know Mike Tomlin always talks about and downplays slow starts, but that's a common theme here in these defeats, and that cannot continue. Now, do you have confidence this will happen with Pittsburgh, who have been so slow starting this year, throughout the year? No, there's no reason to really believe it, but you just recognize the stat, and hopefully this number comes out looking differently after the first quarter on Saturday night. For the run game, you got to find something creative. Baltimore, number 1 run defense in football. You can't just run into a brick wall, but Pittsburgh can't play this one-dimensionally, expect to win either. I think you have to lean on a little bit of Justin Fields in this game. Exactly how much is really impossible to say, but it has to be more than just 3rd and 1 or some sort of, odd red zone opportunity. It has to be more part of your offense, your first down, early down game plan. Pittsburgh's first down offense, terrible. On the season last week, no matter how you slice it, it's not good enough. And so can you use Justin Fields, who's more explosive and dynamic, to be able to manufacture some of that with some creativity? I think you have to do that in this game. And so I hope to see it. Again, it's hard to really dictate exactly how much, but I would say about 10 snaps, just to put a number on it for Fields in this one, because this run game has to get going. They can't win without it, and trying to traditionally run against this front, given Pittsburgh's own struggles, is going to be challenging. Pass Game wrote an article this week for the site that talked about Russell Wilson's splits versus man and zone coverage. He's great against man in terms of yards per attempt, quarterback rating, EPA, that kind of stuff. Terrible against zone, seeing a lot more zone coverage. And so I think it's partially because he's probably just better against man, being able to throw some of those moon balls downfield, one-on-one, outside coverage. But also, I don't think Pittsburgh's schemed up a lot of great zone beaters either. I think they're better at beating man coverage. They have more answers to beat man coverage. They need to have some better zone answers in this game. They have seen a ton of zone over this losing streak because Wilson has not been as productive against it. And so can you flood their zone, flood the Ravens cover 3 on early downs? That's going to be important. Can you work play action and get that going, which was really big and vital early on when Wilson got the nod midseason. They didn't run a single play action attempt last week against the Bengals, despite having a run-heavy game plan. That was pretty shocking, to be honest with you. And so they got to get back to those things and got to be successful in short yardage. Got to have really good answers for situational football. Pittsburgh, a terrible short yardage team. I think they're 30th in short yardage moments this year. And so that has to change. And the line is going to just simply have to protect. And, there's always pros and cons. I think one issue against the Bengals was the line was struggling. And so Pittsburgh had to protect and chip more. And so it only sent 3 out in the pattern more often. And the Bengals could rush 4, which they did confidently, and drop 7 into coverage. And nothing was really there for Russell Wilson. And so that theme can't continue. So the line, Dan Moore's going to have to be better. Same with Broderick Jones. Some good pass rushers and Owe in Van Noy, who's their leader, but this line's going to have to hold up. It's hard to protect and keep 7 in, send 3 out against this defense. It's playing a whole lot better. This Ravens secondary, where Humphrey's playing inside, he's going to probably still shadow Pickens in third down situations. Hamilton's playing more traditional safety. It's hard to really, just put those guys 3 out in the pattern, Pickens, Austin, and Jefferson or Williams, and expect to win. And then quickly, special teams. Well, I want to see more productivity there, or at least less negativity in terms of the kick coverage unit struggling. I'm okay booting the ball out of the end zone at this point. I know you want to try to make some plays inside the 30, but at this point, the returns have just been too significant, too many runbacks, and you can't give Lamar a short field. So Boz has to keep doing his thing, but Waitman's got to be better. Coverage unit has to be better as well. All right, prediction time. I know my predictions have been mostly wrong this year. I think I was sub 500 individually for the season, but my preseason prediction, which I do put a little more stock into, was that Pittsburgh would be 10-7, would be a wild card team, and would be 1-0 in the playoffs. And I will stand by that and have Baltimore winning this one 27-17. I think there are some advantages Pittsburgh has in this matchup. They've won 8 of their last 10 against Baltimore. They split the season series. It's a familiar opponent. Even in the Week 16 loss, that was a 17-point loss. Pittsburgh had it 17-17 end of the third quarter. They clean up some of their miscues and turnovers. It's a different ball game, obviously. But end of the day, I haven't seen enough for me to make that leap to have a compelling reason to pick Pittsburgh. I think it can be closer. I wouldn't be blown away if the Steelers won this game, nor should you. But Pittsburgh is sliding. Baltimore is rising. It's in Baltimore's place. I don't see the tangible reason to confidently pick Pittsburgh, and so I'll take Baltimore. All right, drop your score prediction in the comments below. Let me know your thoughts. Hopefully I sounded okay and edited out all the coughs in this one. It's taken a long time to record this video, unfortunately, but be back to recap this one after the game on Saturday night. Also, I did want to mention, I should have mentioned this top of the video. I'm going to assume this is going to be the same, but for those that are out of market, not in the Pittsburgh area, if you don't have Amazon Prime to watch the game, you can go on their Twitch account. If you just type in like Twitch Prime Video, you can watch the Prime Video channel. It'll air the game. At least it has every Thursday game whenever those were on. And you can watch it for free that way. No, I don't think you need an account. You just have to go on there and you don't have to sign up or anything like that. And so if you want an alternative, besides those sketchy sites, and you don't want to have to pay to watch it on actual Amazon and sign up, you can watch it for free on Twitch Prime Video. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and check out the site, SteelersDepot.com. Thank you again, and we'll talk to you soon.